In this video, we're going to look at the scale in drawings and figure out how to use those to find the actual length of measurements. And you can see most drawings give you the scale, often inches to feet. And we'll be starting off looking at those. Here's a scale drawing. The floor plan tells us that there's a 1/4 inch per 1 foot for the scale. So we want to know what's the actual dimension for a length that is 5 inches on the plan. We're always going to set these up the same. We're going to start off by doing a proportion. We're going to be creating proportions, and the proportion is going to be set up as the scale on the top and the actual on the bottom. We're always going to set that up that way. The size of the scale may differ, but the fact that the scale is on the top and the actual one is on the bottom is going to stay the same. So in this case, it's a 1/4 inch on the top and 1 foot on the bottom. They gave us 5 inches in the plan, so we're trying to find the actual size. So we're going to be using cross products. So we're going to cross multiply a 1/4 and times A and 1 inch times 1 foot times 5 inches. So we did cross multiplication to get that. And now we need to get A by itself, so we're going to divide both sides by a 1/4 inch. When you divide by a fraction, to get rid of it, you're actually going to flip that fraction over and multiply. And when you do, the ones will disappear and the inches will cancel out, and you'll end up with 5 times 4. And 5 times 4 is 20, so your answer is the actual dimensions will be 20 feet. Here's another example. What's the actual dimension for a length of 4 1/8 inches on a plan? Okay, we have that same scale that we had before, scale over actual, a 1/4 inch over 1 foot. 4 1/8 inches is 4.125 inches. Remember, if you can't remember that, you do 1 divided by 8 on the calculator and you'll get 0.125. So we're going to do our cross multiplying again. 1/4 inch times A is going to equal 1 foot times 4.125 inches. And what you'll notice is that the inches are going to cancel out. You're going to end up with feet, which is what we want. And we're going to have to divide both sides by that 1/4 inch again. Remember, when you divide by a fraction, you flip it over and multiply. So really, we're doing 4.125 times 4 because the ones drop out. And it's going to be in feet because that's the units we have left over. And the answer we end up getting is 16.5 feet, or 16 feet 6 inches. Right, let's look at another example. Using the same scale, an actual length of 35 feet would be how long on the plan? Okay, we're going to start by setting up the same way, in that scale's on the top, actual's on the bottom, 1/4 inches on the top, 1 foot's on the bottom. But this time the scale is what we want, it's on top. The actual is 35 feet. We cross multiply, and we get something that looks like this. A 1/4 inch times 35 feet equals 1 foot times S. And if you divide both sides by that 1 foot, the feet part are going to cancel out. You're going to get these feet part canceling out. And then you end up with inches, which is what we want. So we get 8.75 inches, and we can figure that 0.75 is 3/4 of an inch. So 8 3/4 inches long. Often on drawings, there are 2 types of scales. You can have scales that have set units, and they're usually inches to feet. So 3/16, 1/4, or 3/8. Or you have scales that can have any units, and they're just a ratio like 1 to 50, 1 to 40, or 1 to 30. So we're going to look at some of these examples now. So using a scale of 1 to 30, what's the actual dimensions in meters for a drawing length of 17 centimeters? So what's the same about these? Scale over actual is the same. We're going to put the scale of 1 on the top and 30 on the bottom. We were giving a drawing length of 17 centimeters, so that's our scale. We want to find our actual, so we're going to cross multiply. When we cross multiply, we get 1 times A equals 17 centimeters times 30. So our units, the only units we have in there right now are centimeters. Multiply that out, we get 510 centimeters, but if you remember, you get 100 centimeters per 1 meter. So if you want to find meters, if you divide by 100, or you can just move that decimal point over 2, and the actual length is 5.1 meters. All right, Using a scale this time of 1 to 40 and an actual length of 23.5 meters, what would be the centimeters on a blueprint? Okay, so scale over actual, 1 over 40. We're trying to find the scale, and the actual is 23.5 meters. So we'll cross multiply 1 times 23.5 meters, those are units, and S times 40. Now we want to get S by itself, we're going to divide both sides by 40. There we go. And when we do, we end up getting 0.5875 meters equals S. And we need centimeters. There's 100 centimeters in a meter, so we're going to multiply by 100 and move the decimal over 2. And we end up with an answer that the scale drawing would be 58.75, that should say, yeah, centimeters long. All right, one more example. What's the actual dimensions for a length of 9 1/8 inch on a plan with a scale of 3/16 inch to 1 foot? I'm going to give our answer in feet per inches. Well, first, let's get that 9 1/8 into a decimal so we can work with it. It's 9.125. We talked about quarter earlier. Now, it would be really great if you paused here and try to do this on your own. And then when you think you're done, unpause it and see my solution, see if we match up. Okay, so scale over actual, 3/16 over 1. 9.125 is what the plan was. The actual is what we want. Cross multiplying, we get 1 times 9.125 equals 3/16 times A, and I showed how we can cancel out the inches. We're going to end up with feet. We're going to divide both sides by 3/16. Remember, when you divide by a fraction, flip it over and multiply. So we're multiplying by 16 and then dividing by 3, and that's going to give us 48.6 repeating feet. And if you put the 6 repeating times 12, you're going to get 48 feet, 8 inches. Well, I hope this video has helped you out with scale drawings, and if you found this video helpful, please like it on my YouTube page, Naomi at AVTEC.